Welcome everybody to our webinar today. We are really thrilled to have a team here from Phoenix Union School District and Junior Achievement of Arizona to discuss an entire plan around designing an effective career-connected learning plan. We're also going to be talking about how ExactPath supports the goals of ensuring academic achievement while the district is working on those big goals and new programs. And we're going to hear from a variety of great folks here who I will introduce you to here. We have a great panel of four. We have Ms. Laura Tejas. She is Chief Achievement Officer in Phoenix Union. Mr. Tony Camp is Executive Director for Teaching and Learning in the district. Mr. Robert Grant is Principal of Cesar Chavez High School. And Ms. Ann Landers is Chief Operating Officer for Junior Achievement of Arizona. So we got perspectives from all across the collaboration here. And a little bit about the district before we get started. Then our panelists will fill you in on even some more details. But Phoenix Union is a major district. It is a large high school district with 25,000 students, 3,500 plus employees, 23 high schools of all types across Phoenix, Arizona there. And we're going to be talking about some of the programs I previewed. So without further delay, let's get into it. Let's welcome in our panelists here. And I just wanted to start out by allowing our panel to fill in a little bit more details about the district, about the student body, student population, and we'll talk about that from the district level and also from the school level. Ms. Tejas, would you tell us a little bit about the students in Phoenix Union? And then Mr. Grant, if you want to chime in from there and tell us about your school.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate the question. So as you can probably tell, we are Phoenix. We are the largest high school district in the state of Arizona. We serve high school only students, which makes us a little bit different and unique in that regard. If you were to take a look at our K-8 partner districts, along with our enrollment, we serve about 135,000 students and families in the Phoenix area. We are richly diverse. We span about 220 square miles, so we have a pretty large footprint. We really are driven by our mission associated with preparing every student for success in college, career, and life. And to achieve this, we are very passionate about equity, about access, about opportunities for every single student. So demographically, just to add to the conversation around diversity, we are approximately 80% Latino, about 9% Black and African American students, and about 2% Native American students district-wide. Our students and our families come from places all over the world, and we have over 100 languages that are spoken within the district. Our emerging bilingual population is about 20% of our total student body. About 10% of our students qualify for services under our ESS or special education program. Many of our students come from historically underserved communities, and the challenges and the opportunities that come with poverty are something that we grapple with as a district. Our work is deeply grounded in culturally responsive practices. We want to really reflect the lived experiences of our learners. Each of our school communities has their own unique needs and opportunities, and I'm going to share a little bit about Alhambra, and then Mr. Grant can share about Cesar Chavez. So Alhambra High School, who's our other school district who's going to be embarking on this new experience with us, is one of the most diverse group of learners in Phoenix Union. In terms of our emerging bilingual population. Most of those are Spanish-speaking students. They don't all come from Mexico. They come from all over the world in terms of our Spanish-speaking students. And Swahili and Kinyarwanda are the most frequently spoken languages at that district. So many of their students are really new to education, particularly a formal education experience, so they're learning both content and language at the same time. They are also one of our larger schools with well over 2,500 students at their campus. So they're big into PLCs. They're really poised uniquely to be able to offer this experience, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So I'd like to kick it over to Mr. Grant to talk about Chavez.
All right, thank you. Again, I'm Rob Grant, proud principal of Cesar Chavez High School. We are in the heart of Laveen, which is in the south side of Phoenix. We serve about 2,500 students with an amazing, diverse student body. Oh, sorry. We serve a very, again, diverse student body with about 2,500 students. We are the second largest school in Phoenix Union. Our demographics are about 73% Hispanic and about 17% African American, one of the largest African American populations in the state of Arizona. We've earned a B letter grade by the state of Arizona. We have the longest running freshman house in Phoenix Union. And for 2 years in a row, I'm proud to say we have the highest on track to graduate rate at 85% this year. We have the lowest dropout rate in Phoenix Union. We have the most interventions this last year. We 6 of the last 7 years, we've been the Phoenix Union Athletic Program of the Year. We have a very strong culture and vibe on campus. Our ACT scores are going up, and we surpassed the district rate of a Zella reclassification this year, and just proud of the work that we're doing. We serve a unique community where we're still inner city, but we're still a little bit in the suburbs. That's what's unique about the population that we serve. We have students from all across the economic threshold. So just doing a lot of good things here at Chavez, and love our community. 4 of our 5 administrators live within 5 miles, so we are heavily invested in what we're doing here.
Excellent. Now let's talk about what those students are looking for in their education, and specifically, I think around what sparked this collaboration between Phoenix Union and Junior Achievement and the goals that you're working toward there. I think we can set some of the groundwork for that. And we can address this from a few different levels. So we'll have Anne give us that broader perspective from her work, and Tony at the district level, and Rob from your school. And that way we can kind of hear all how those things tie together, right, as the work that we're going to discuss throughout this session. It all comes back to those students, what they're looking for, and that's the why behind why you're doing this work that you're doing. Anne, would love to start with you.
Yeah, I imagine that you're probably going to hear some similar answers, and I think that's a good thing. It shows the alignment of where we're all headed. But it's funny that you say answer the why, because that's in a nutshell, and some of the answer is answer why they have to learn this before they even ask it. So creating that career and real world connectivity and relevancy, helping them understand how the topics that they have to learn, that they're required to sit in their seats and learn, really matter for their future. And I think another angle to it, at least what we experienced through the 400 school partnerships we have across the state, is not just creating that relevancy, but also creating a sense of belonging and helping them see how they fit within their school environment, and how they might also fit within the greater picture of the world longer term, and where their place might be, and who they are, and how their potential might sync up to those future possibilities for themselves.
Tony?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Romano. Just to echo what Ms. Lander said, the students in Phoenix Union, I believe, are seeking relevance, agency, and connection. And in terms of connection, not just relationally, but also in terms of right now and their future selves. They want learning that resonates with their personal identities and prepares them for real world success. In terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a lot of students that we serve have a lot of other areas or things that are most important to their lives besides education. And it's up to us to show them that importance through those relevant agency connection modalities. Through a model like 3DE, we constantly look to offer personalized competency-based learning that aligns with their aspirations and career goals. And then I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Grant to maybe talk specifically about our Cesar Chavez students.
Yeah, so specific to Cesar Chavez High School, I meet with student government, their officers, 10 students, and the student government advisor. And I meet with them every October. And every year I've met with them for the past 3 years. It's just a basic general meeting. But when I talk to them, the same thing comes up. I ask them, hey, how can we make your educational experience better? And every single time they say that they want to be pushed, they want to be challenged. There's nothing worse you can do in a classroom than to give them busy work, stuff that doesn't matter. And year after year, they've asked for stuff that's just like Mr. Camp said and Miss Lander said. They want relevance. They want jobs right out of high school. Not everybody wants to go to college. We try to push them to college, but not everybody wants to go. So what they're asking for is they're tired of sit and get. They want relevance. Why am I learning this? They want to know the answer like in the moment. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? And 3DE, when I found out about 3DE, it just, I mean, it was like it was a perfect match. Also because not only from my conversations with student government, but our climate and culture survey that we give every year in Phoenix Union, there's a few questions on there specifically, and we'll probably get to that later, but there's questions on there about what do they do in the classroom? What's the bulk of their time doing? And I noticed in our survey results for Chavez, a lot of it was lecture, sit and get. So in order to change that, I mean, that's why I'll let everybody else finish, but this 3DE works out perfect for what we want.
So as we're getting the conversation with Mr. Camp, I'd love just a little context for our viewers as they're watching and hearing all the different pieces we're talking about. I know a little bit later in our conversation, we're going to talk about that exact path piece and its relationship, especially in Cesar Chavez, and meeting those dual goals, right, of the student achievement while we're also building these innovative career programs. Could you give just a little context on the different ways that the district collaborates with Edmentum, and that'll just give our I think our viewers something that they're thinking about as they're hearing this conversation, because we're talking about this great partnership with junior achievement, and it all interacts, right? All these initiatives to meet student needs and support student goals, they all play an important part.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I can speak from experience, Mr. Romano, as a former principal of a large comprehensive campus like Cesar Chavez. As a principal, you really have, you know, a lot of areas around your goals, but if you focus on everything, nothing's important. And while we want to make sure and focus on relevance and connectivity to our students with their academic learning experiences, we cannot forget about those state measurement labels, state accountability data points, so to speak. Mr. Grant mentioned them earlier about how proud he is that 85% of his students are on track. Dropout rate is a state measured data point, graduation rates, all of those different things, including the current state exam ACT to measure overall proficiency of students. And in terms of exact path, we currently finished last school year as the first official year of incorporating Edmentum's exact path in Phoenix Union. And we've partnered with Edmentum to support personalized learning through their exact path platform. Now, exact path aligns directly with our NWEA benchmark assessments, just in case any other districts use NWEA. And it allows us to tailor instruction, even asynchronous instruction, based on each student's academic needs and where they are with that RIT score in NWEA. And it's adaptive. This adaptive learning tool helps students build foundational skills that they are essential for not only academic success, but also for long-term career readiness. And we also see those various career readiness behaviors that are embedded in 3DE that really complement that work. And now, while we're early in our implementation of this, only about 20 to 25% of our students last school year engaged with exact path enough to show measurable skill growth. But those results of that group are very promising, and they demonstrate the platform's potential to close learning gaps and accelerate progress when used consistently. And so as we expand that consistent use, we anticipate even greater impact on both academic and career preparation outcomes. And Mr. Grant may be able to speak specifically to his initiative he's launching this year around exact path usage in their advisory periods, which is highly commendable. And I want to give Mr. Grant an opportunity to mention that.
Yeah, so what we've done is, well, we've done two things. We've asked our entire campus, our advisory teachers, to help students log into exact path so they can get the help in math that they need. Like you said, I love that you said it's an adaptive learning tool. That's what I like about Edmentum. It's tailored to their specific needs. And what we've done this last year is we've incorporated a new advisory where if students they didn't travel for advisory to go get help in another class, we expect them to be working in Edmentum and ExactPath. And on the I days, or the online days that we have, what we do is that's the assigned work at Cesar Chavez. We expect them to log in to ExactPath and work for an hour. That's what we expect them to do on the online days, on top of whatever other learning that they have to do in their other courses. So that's what we've done. We found some success. We've seen some growth. Our ACT math proficiency went up this year from 12.7 to 17.3%. And I think I'm confident that ExactPath, the Edmentum, that is helping.
Perfect. Yeah, you need to address each of these things, right? And clearly there's a plan for that. I'd love to talk outcomes, and as particularly the desired outcome, right? What you're aiming for, planning for, building toward here. And I'd love to start this by asking Ms. Tejas, Ms. Landers, to kind of talk about the outcomes and goals that you've identified for the program that you're building here. And then to follow that up, Mr. Camp, Mr. Grant, with what you're keeping your eye on as far as the challenges, right? The things that can make those outcomes, can be a potentially put them at risk if you're not aware of them, you don't have a plan for addressing those challenges, or knowing, okay, what are the things, right, that make these goals ambitious, right? And I'm sure that's what we're going to hear about here, is some big goals. So would love to have everybody kind of contribute to that and talk about how that works, because that's what it's all about, right?
I'll start and jump in and talk through outcomes that we hope to create. Being that we're a high school district, our goal really is to produce college and career ready graduates. We want them to be socially conscious. We want them to be equipped with the skills so that they can thrive in a dynamic economy, as well as future societal conditions and career opportunities. We're really excited with Junior Achievement's 3DE instructional model because it integrates all of the business case studies and real-world problem solving, and that so closely aligns with our vision and our mission for a student experience. So that's kind of big picture. More specifically, we found that students excel academically when they're given agency and relevancy in their courses, and Mr. Grant talked about that a little bit earlier. So we've seen increased attendance and deeper engagement and stronger post-secondary planning when we've re-engineered high schools. We're academy model schools at 2 of our campuses. And so we're really looking for what are other opportunities for our schools. And 3DE's model of integration with business challenges, it's in line, and we think we're going to see some tremendous results for our students' untapped leadership and problem-solving skills. So we're excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, just to layer in there. So junior achievement, everything that junior achievement does, and specifically with this model, is designed to expand economic opportunity for learners for the long term, right? To see them be successful in career and life. And it really is encompassed by all those things that Ms. Tejas is talking about around not only the agency and relevancy, but being good citizens and being able to navigate complexities of adulthood. What does that look like pragmatically in the 3DE model? We would expect to see some outcomes in line with the rest of our national implementation around drastic reduction in absenteeism, improved graduation rates. We expect to see improved post-secondary going. Now, Phoenix Union's already doing a very, very good job in these spaces. We just expect to see that this is going to help elevate even more some of these outcomes for the students who we believe would need this type of learning experience the most. We also expect to see improvement on many of the reading and math proficiency models. And so knowing that they're going to outperform their peers doing the same type of curriculum, but because they see that relevancy and that connection to the future. And then also one of the key differentiators of the model is that competency mastery, the mastery of these really important, durable, transferable skills that they're going to need regardless of their future outcome. They're going to master those before they even leave the Phoenix Union doors. So those are the things that we're really keeping our eyes on.
How about those challenges? Anything you have your eye on, you're planning ahead for, right? Thinking about?
Yeah, I am not a glasses half empty type of person, but when it comes to challenges, I'll kind of speak up first, I think. A little bit to what Ms. Landers mentioned, really relates to this biggest barrier of disengagement. This device right here has made it quite difficult for us to keep students fully engaged. Fortunately, our state legislation has recently passed a law requiring some boundaries with social media devices during school. But we hope to also overcome opportunity gaps of our students. A lot of times, our students not only haven't experienced opportunities, they haven't even been outside the valley. They have not even been outside of Phoenix. And so more of an exposure to career pathways as well. And this is more than just a guest speaker that comes in for one day. This is job embedded experiences, internships, things like that, right? More than just career exploration, but career exposure. I like how a lot of that comes in play with 3DE. I also like how our, as Ms. Tejas mentioned earlier, our academies pathways really embed workforce readiness skills and career exposure, like actual experience, internships, things of that nature as well. And so, we hope to address, those as some of our key challenges. And by embedding career connected learning and leveraging platforms like Exact Path for a return on investment as a district during these very difficult financial times, we can tackle these issues with data-informed interventions and authentic learning experiences. I mentioned earlier that while implementing career readiness models or redesigning high schools, we also need to maintain that focus on overall achievement and standards proficiency and academic skill development. And so this marriage, so to speak, really gives us an opportunity to more effectively provide practices to students where they are at, and not have to wait for individual teachers to assign appropriate levels of work that is rigorous but not impossible. And that goes back to what Mr. Grant mentioned around Stugo kids. They want to be challenged. They don't want to be challenged with boring, useless nonsense. They want it to be relevant, and they want to be able to see themselves in that work.
Yeah. Mr. Grant, anything you'd like to add from the lens of your school?
As far as challenges for students to overcome?
Yeah.
So one thing I think about is specific to Levine. Actually, it's probably Greater Phoenix Union. I just want students to be aware of their opportunities around them. For instance, that's why the 3DE, that's why I'm so gung-ho and bought in with 3DE, because, for instance, I looked up, we're going to partner with State Farm. And I looked up jobs the other day for State Farm. State Farm has jobs. People just think, oh, they got claims specialists. Well, they have claims specialists in auto and property, claims appraisers, data analysis, paralegal, field inspector, risk management, attorneys, human resources, marketing, secretaries. Students just aren't aware. Many people aren't aware, like, oh, they have that many people in that corporation. So for me, it's specific, like, because we don't have I'm sorry if I don't know the acronym. Is it TSCM? I don't know, the big company that's being built out way north.
TSMC.
Yeah, that place. Yeah, that's way up north. That's far away from Chavez. So I'm thinking about my students and getting opportunities for a State Farm that's a little closer in Tempe. Maybe Vestar is building a mall out in our area. Things like of that nature. I'm worried about not our location, but I want them to overcome the challenge of don't let where you live define you, and just be aware of the opportunities and getting that message out there that you can have a great paying job in Levine or near your home, or get out and see the world.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect transition, because as we talked about at the beginning, who the students are that you serve, right, in your community. And so much of this planning, as you talked about as a high school district, the goal is graduating students who are college and career ready, and really all learning at the secondary level is around that career connectedness, right? Because
Mhm.
it's what's the next step? What are we preparing students for? And as you're looking in your community, or your state, are there particular areas of economic opportunity that you've identified as you're planning these next phases of your program and thinking about, okay, let's make sure that we're preparing students for those, or we can clearly see that there's a lot of great opportunity there. So let's just make sure to be mindful. Ms. Tejas, Ms. Landers, are there particular ones that you have in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question, and 100% agree with what Mr. Grant shared earlier. It's really about expanding students' understanding, that they may understand that there is this one aspect to the industry, but there's so much more, if they really are interested and have the opportunity to explore. So some areas and industries that we're very interested in partnering with 3DE around include healthcare. It's expanding everywhere, particularly in Levine and the south part of Phoenix. Technology, logistics, even advanced manufacturing are all industries that we have our eyes on. We really want to connect our students to these career opportunities. 3DE offers that through internships, through mentorships, through curriculum that, as we've talked before, really allow those competencies to be something that come to life, the real world. We really want to see our students graduate with credentials that are industry recognized, certifications that are industry recognized, and with college credit that's aligned to whatever the career pathway is that they choose. And so we're really looking forward to the partnership with 3DE around this in junior achievement.
Yeah, I would add it at the higher level, even we want to prepare students for career fields where they're going to have that economic opportunity, right? And so we look at things like the H3 career, the fields that are high growth, high demand, and high wages, right? We look at things like the students may not have any idea what advanced manufacturing might be, or there may be stigmas attached to it based on previous experience. They may not yet realize where their interests already align to those. And there's tons of assessments, tons of tools. We use them ourselves. But those are going to show the students what they already know in many ways. They're going to be informed. So that's what we're interested in doing. We're also interested in helping students understand where jobs may become obsolete. They may put all their eggs in a basket that's one day going to be totally run by AI. And the reality is, how do we make sure they have those transferable skills, that ability to flex and quickly adapt into a field that is parallel? They may be really, really engaged in data, and they may have no idea that they could have a career at State Farm or an insurance company as a data analyst. And that parodies to healthcare and every other field in Arizona, right? So how do we prepare them and help them align to some of that thinking? All the while, it's a perfect balance, because if you aren't talking to them about jobs that they already have their appetite, inclined for, and helping them imagine that that might be possible, then you're going to lose them. So it's a whole continuum where you help them see, this is what I'm interested in. I don't get this. And how do we give them exposure? And also the hyper local, the stuff that's right in their own backyard, and stuff that they may never even have considered for themselves, perhaps across the country or perhaps across the world. So helping give a full picture as best we can in those 4 short years that we have them.
Yeah. How have you seen that this type of learning affects students' engagement in their other, studies endeavors, their different subject matter once they have been introduced to more exploration of career, right? More understanding of the opportunities that are available to them. Does it change the way they engage with all the learning they're doing?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, the answer is it is that engagement that makes all the difference. And so we see in the 100 years that JA has been around, we have schools come back to us. That's the origin story of 3DE. We had a high school district come to us and say, we are not fully satisfying what the high school learning experience needs to be for students, and we're not engaging them. Help us figure that out. And we know the second we help them with that engagement, that tactile or experiential component, the ability to the tools they need to think differently, we know the second we do that, we're opening those doors for them, and we're helping see a completely different future for them unfold.
Yeah. Mr. Camp, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, in my experience as a former CTE director, I got to see this firsthand. In fact, I would brag about the data of students that experienced a career and technical education course in high school, and what that showed in terms of results of their overall achievement, graduation rate, dropout rate, so on and so forth. It's directly connected. And you can see that in the data from 3DE implemented schools across the nation as well. I think career connected learning actually makes education tangible for our students. When they see how their coursework connects or links to real world outcomes, especially through a business case based model, they become more motivated, they become more persistent, and they become more confident in their future. I remember as a student not knowing what I wanted to do when I moved into the real world. And I came from a very supportive family background where college was, just, it wasn't an option. It was something that, I would do. And I only changed my major once. And I would have liked to experience, a program like 3DE to not only see those career interest connections to my learning, but also learn what my son is now learning as a recent college graduate. And that is, he knows his pathway, but he wants to experience the jobs or careers that he does want. And also he has to experience those that he doesn't want. And it's very difficult to start doing that right out in the real world rather than to have that in high school and get a better taste of not only which pathway or career I want to pursue, but what in that career and pathway, motivates me, interests me. So I would say that from the district perspective, in my experience, it's a no-brainer. The data shows it in every implemented experience that high school students are in, if it's implemented with fidelity.
Yeah, that's all, such important points about the exploration and exposure to a variety of different possibilities and options. One, you need to understand what some things are that you determine are not what you're interested in, right? That helps you really understand the things that you are truly interested in, right? If you only have a chance to explore one or two things, I mean, it may be interesting to you, but you may also not have that context to contrast it and understand why is that the pathway. Another important part I'd love to go to Mr. Grant is making sure that students are prepared to really pursue any number of options, whichever ones they decide are for them. There's so many different pathways to that, right? It's not necessarily a linear path. It's not always high school, college, career, or high school, career, no college. It could be some things happening in parallel. You could work for a while, then go back to school. You can go to 2-year trade school, right? And understanding what all those are and why it is a good a good path, of course, is important for students to make decisions, but also, like we referenced a little bit earlier, making sure to solidify those core academics, right? Being able to provide, whether it's, of course, the strong instruction in the subject areas, also those interventions, tier 2 pieces to say, okay, let's make sure that everybody has those core foundational skills, has that academic achievement, so that if they choose, for what I want to do, I need to go and get another degree in X, or I need to be able to learn these skills, right? That they can do and are ready to go in and pursue the thing that they're really interested in. Would love to come back to you for just a little bit more insight about, we talked, of course, about that exact path piece, but, the importance of having that as part of a well-rounded, robust program to say, we need students to have the well-rounded awareness of their interests, right? The engagement to pursue their interests, and also make sure we are supporting all of those foundational skills and that standards mastery that puts them on the pathway to then go and do what they want to do.
Yeah, so one thing I was thinking about when you asked me the question, as principal, I get this question often when I'm observing an algebra class. Inevitably, I get the why why am I learning this? A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and who cares? And I always come back to, hey, you need to learn how to think. And I tell students, the one thing that I get as a principal when I talk to business and industry leaders, they want students who can think, they can solve problems. And I tell students, Chavez students, all the time, like, you need to think on your feet, you need to be able to problem solve. And it's in our learner attributes in Phoenix Union is having grit, problem solving. These are skills that you will take with you for the rest of your life. So whether you like Shakespeare or not, I wasn't a Shakespeare fan, but you know what? It got me thinking outside the box and thinking, okay, this is not my area that I like, but I remember Mrs. Garwood telling me very specifically, Robert, you need to learn how to think, because when you leave here, you're going to have to solve problems in the real world, and your parents are going to take care of you, and you got to figure it out. So that's how I'd answer that question, at least specific to at the school level, is stressing the importance of students of just like, hey, it's not about the actual algebra, it's about problem solving and learning and growing.
Absolutely. So of course, our viewers who are watching this recording, thinking through this, are going to be in different districts across the country here. But I do think, Ms. Tejas, that hearing about some of the specific things unique to your own district and your own community, and some of the ways that you are focused on, building a well-rounded program that is particular to the needs of your students, right, is going to help other administrators see what that looks like with their student population, right? And they might have economic, job markets that are a little different in their cities. They may have students that are a little bit different, but it's the same questions that they'll be asking, the same ways they're making decisions about, okay, how would we do that for our kids? I would love to hear some of those insights for you about some of the things that you are, and even as you're partnering with Ann and Junior Achievement, right, that you're tailoring, I'm sure, different pieces of that program to say, you know what, this is something we really want to do here, and this is what we have really been excited about the most, because it's an area of real potential for our students.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Ross. So I think the beauty of what Junior Achievement has accomplished with 3DE is your ability to personalize the curriculum and the experience to meet your students' needs and still maintain compliance with state standards associated with, in our case, high school, right? Graduation. We want to make sure that we're meeting in ABAR, which is our Board of Regents. Every state's got one, right? So you want to make sure that you're meeting those college entrance requirements for kiddos. So the flexibility that's offered through the 3DE model is just absolutely amazing. I also think the fact that Junior Achievement approached us early and gave us a full year to really plan this experience with our teachers is absolutely invaluable. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are delivering the curriculum and experience in line with our business partners, right, to the students. And so they have to have a level of comfort and be able to make the connections between what they have been doing to what we're asking them to shift to in order to make that experience successful. I think our campus leaders also have the ability, in this case, to pick the teachers, right, who are the most open to this experience, who will make that transition the most successful, or who are the most excited about trying something different. And they have that pioneering spirit and want to try a little bit different model. And so I think it's twofold. The fact that it's flexible to work within a system that already exists, and that you get to use resources, people, the curriculum that's already something that your teachers are familiar with, is absolutely invaluable to us.
So, Slanders, yeah, we have more on that one.
Yeah, I would just say, too, to piggyback off Ms. Tejas, it's very true that I'm trying to remember the name of the planning year. There's a term that Junior Achievement and 3DE use for it. It's like a commitment year.
Readiness, yeah, the readiness and due diligence.
Readiness, thank you. Yes, and as I've experienced a lot of different, you know, career readiness models or things of implementation, this was unique as an experience. It was very, very well thought out, very planned. Obviously, they have done this, you know, in many other districts. And it's sort of a check to see if we're actually committed to that work just as much as if they are committed to us at that work, right? And so it's kind of like you know, making sure that both the district and 3DE are committed to the work. And it's really focused on that alignment because 3DE is an instructional model, right? It's an instructional delivery model. And so like Ms. Taya said, some of our teachers are hungry for new ways to get to our kids, to make it relevant, to engage them, right? And it's just amazing that, you know, they work with us, adjust and align our curriculum so we're not changing anything. We're just, you know, an added benefit. You know, we are also aligning our advisory and mentorship structures to this type of program, as well as community partnerships. So we have community partnerships with other organizations. And I can talk a little bit about public-private partnerships in a moment.
Yeah.
But with the current context of public education and continued funding constraints, it's all about return on investment. And with that direct alignment, you know, and connection to community partnerships, it's a no-brainer for us.
Yeah. No, that's a great transition there, right? Because that's a piece that is really important, and I definitely want to talk about it. And it's something that we see too, right? With Edmentum, we have our Edmentum career, you know, comprehensive offering, and it goes from exploration to employment. That's what I'm saying, starting in grade 6. And there's all the important academics, right? Nearly 50 career pathways. It's aligned to all the 14 career clusters, but something that can really supercharge that for students is those public-private partnerships, those community partnerships, whether that is in some areas apprenticeship programs or, you know, even internship programs, or certainly different ways of partnering with those organizations in the community that are really immersed in what is this going to look like in practice once you have graduated, you have your degree, you're determining your next steps. The better you know that ahead of time and you've had real exposure to it, right? And the better the schools understand it. I'm sure you learn a lot through those partnerships yourselves, right? By what different folks in a variety of industries are looking for, or the access that community partners can give to all these variety of opportunities for kids. Would love to hear your insights on establishing those partnerships, making them productive, making them really serve the needs of those students and be augmentative to all the things that are happening inside the school.
Sure, I'll be happy to start. I think it comes down to probably four main pieces, right? The first one is trust. You have to be able to trust the partners that you're working with, public or private. Really comes down to what the mutual benefit is for both organizations. Obviously, someone wants to partner is like a business or a private partnership. They want skilled employees. They want to be able to you know, be confident that the work that they're putting into a district results in students coming out of that district with those skills and traits that are needed to employ them. I believe 5-6 years ago, I heard businesses call what's happening now as a silver tsunami, where there's this large group of qualified technicians or employers that are retiring. And now this new generation that's coming in don't have those skills or abilities. That pendulum of college, or career, right? Mr. Grant talked about that pendulum being right in the middle of being able to give the opportunity for both. And I think this does that. Frequent communication, frequent and clear communication, I would say is very important when working with public-private partners, and also a shared vision. You know, our collaboration with Junior Achievement at this point exemplifies how aligning those goals and maintaining open communication can lead to an impactful program. And that's really sort of reflects the spirit of co-creation with this program, while also having case studies, business partners ready to go, ready for the schools, ready for the district. And so, I would go back to trust, shared vision, frequent communication, and mutual benefit.
Yeah, I'll add a note to that, and then I'd love Ms. Lander's perspective, but I'll put this maybe in the resources below this video, but to that point of the silver tsunami and the opportunity that's opening up in the skilled trades and the demand, right? We recorded an interview here recently with our Edmentum CEO, Jamie Candy, and the CEO of Interplay Learning, Doug Donovan, and all about the skilled trades. And that's one of the things it touches on is one, all those, the need that's there, the durable industries, right? The resilient to recession proof and really great earning potential in whether it's HVAC, electrical, plumbing, there's many more. But also to that college and career point, how it is beneficial and the earning potential increases in those fields too with diplomas. One, they're entrepreneurial opportunities because a lot of those people that are retiring, they're retiring from a small business that they own. They might not have somebody to pass it on to, so they might retire and close the business. You might be able to come and take over that business, right? And now you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, and you have a trade skill. And there's also a variety of other ways with just managing. So it's understanding that all of those things are part of what's possible and not just seeing it as just an either or. I'm going to college, I'm going to trade school, I'm not, I'm going, that it's all a variety of ways. And I think the more students understand that, the more they can see, okay, what is the path I'm going to take? What does that look like? And then they can make the right decisions to pursue that, right? And have the support. And getting real exposure to it, I'm sure helps, because if I talk to somebody who's done that, now I know, okay, right, that must be legit. But what are you seeing, Ms. Landers, from your POV?
I think, allow me to be on my soapbox for a quick second. I would make the case that this long-term problem that we're all trying to solve of preparing learners for the future takes all of us. It's going to take the entire workforce system, all those businesses, the education system, and everything in between to solve that, right? And so JA gets the unique intersection of being both the business and workforce side of things and education. And so if somebody on the workforce side ever gripes about they're not ready or I can't find the skilled workforce, my first conversation is always around, well, what is your organization doing to help influence that? Similarly, on the education side, it takes more than just opening your doors to help with a garden. Absolutely valuable and worthy, and there is so much need for that, but it has to take a willingness to be able to look at it differently and integrate business into the learning environment in a different way. So to Mr. Camp's point earlier about finding there districts and schools that are ready for a deeper intersection and some of that work together to help with that readiness is a really important component to it. So I would make the case that a successful public-private partnership looks like streamlining it, making it as simple as possible on both ends of that party and saying, hey, how do we not create more work for educators and administrators and education as a whole, but how do we also help these businesses see how they can easily step into that learning environment and not have to become the experts in education, right? And not have to become those what are teaching strategies? They don't need to know that. We leave the expert educators to do that. But we still need those authentic connections, and that's where there has to be the willingness on all sides. That's my my soapbox for the day.
Yeah, no, it's a good soapbox, and it's a great solution to, some of the things that may bottleneck an initiative, right? We have a lot of goals, we want to do this, but we're not sure if we have the right expertise internally, or we're trying to, as you said, go with someone who really has the industry expertise but doesn't have the background in teaching, or vice versa, somebody who's an expert teacher but hasn't worked in that industry. And how do we share expertise, collaborate, and combine, and everybody can do the things that they're really good at, and make sure that students are well served. So I think that's a great point. As we're kind of wrapping this up, we're heading into, by the time folks are viewing this, I think in a district like Phoenix Union, that school district is coming very quickly. Others, it's coming quite soon. So I'd love to have my Phoenix Union panelists here just talk about what are your goals for this year? What are the things when you're looking at the end of the year, you'll be asking, did we do this? Did we make good progress on this, right? What are some of the things that you're really interested in and excited to see come to life over the course of this year? Maybe we'll start with Mr. Grant at the school level there, and then Mr. Camp, Ms. Tejas from the district POV.
Yeah, for me, and I'm looking right in front of us. I have our integrated action plan right here. It's on my desk. Our goal one is to enhance and develop common English language arts and ELL instructional practices, boost school-wide math interventions through the use of Edmentum. Those are our main two goals. And obviously, we're going to launch 3DE this year. But the biggest thing for our continuous school improvement is, again, enhance and develop common instructional practices and increase math interventions.
And I'll go from the maybe 20,000-foot level district, and then let Ms. Tejas close with the 35,000-foot level. I couldn't agree more with Mr. Grant. We are, as a district, really aligning our integrated action plans more with tangible outcomes rather than just a checkbox. I would be remiss if I did not say my hopes for this next year is that public education gets funded the way it should be. I think that's probably critical. But overall, regarding this webinar, we're really looking forward to launching this 3DE model at both Cesar Chavez High School under Mr. Grant and Alhambra High School under Dr. Weber. We want to see about increasing the use with fidelity of that Edmentum's tool in alignment with our NWEA scores for our kids, and strengthening our advisory and career readiness systems. We also hope to continue building capacity amongst our teachers and expanding partnerships that enrich student experiences. That includes industry certifications that are recognized, that partners are telling us, yeah, that's something we look for, or, the State Department of Ed says that's an industry cert, but that's not going to do them any good. So having both of those lenses to look through really helps, at least in my role with our vision mission, and that's our hope. That's my hope for the next year. I'll turn it to Ms. Tejas.
Thanks, Tony. Well, I'll start actually with our students. We're really hopeful that our students are going to be excited about this learning experience through the 3DE model with junior achievement. We're also hopeful that the experience and what they're learning and the way that it's being presented is going to increase academic success. We're hoping kids are going to be absent less. We're hoping they're going to be more connected to the campus. Both of those things and the academic pieces really lead to a high school diploma and being college and career ready, right? And that's the ultimate goal that we have. From a business model perspective, we're also hopeful that word's going to spread, that they're going to be so excited about what they're experiencing, both our students and their parents, that they're going to be talking about it to their friends and family. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what my kid's getting in terms of their experience at Chavez. And so from a business model perspective, when you increase enrollment, right, you have more money to work with. And so from a business model perspective, it also makes sense for us. But ultimately, we're hoping that the students are going to be really excited about what they're experiencing. They're going to see the value in it, and that over time, we're going to see that as they're graduating college and career ready, what paths they choose to take.
Excellent. Well, thank you all. Yeah, and I think on those last couple of points, you really spoken to something we've discussed here in conversations on this topic. It's the doing both that making that exploration possible, and also doing that curation, and really doing that thinking around what are the real areas of opportunity, right? You mentioned the certifications, which ones are really aligned to those high potential pathways, those growing fields, the ones where there is a real resilient need, and what are some of the ones where they might not be as predominant anymore, and how can we provide all of that information, which it doesn't say you need to do this or that, but you have a real understanding as a student of what's available, what do you want to really pursue, and how does that affect it, and that's across the spectrum, right? College and career. How do all the pieces fit together, and how do I go and do the thing that really is going to lead me to where I want to go? So I really thank you all for sharing today, for discussing the programs that you're working on and how you're going about it, and your successes so far and the successes that you're working toward. And just thank you for doing that work that you're doing for your students and your community. It's really important work, and I thank you all for being part of our webinar today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.